Hey, good Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are talking about an extremely active forecast. We have risk after risk after risk, sometimes 2 a day on the board, but we also got a 5-star storm yesterday. So not only are we looking back at some very, very historic storms that happened yesterday, but also looking forward to a very rare storm risk today. So a lot to talk about today. Basically anywhere across the country will have a chance for storms from now all the way through Sunday or Monday, really Monday of next week. So it doesn't matter if you're in Baltimore, Maryland, or if you're in Portland, Oregon, you probably have a chance for storms between now and Monday. So let's talk about it. A rare storm risk is on the board today. Storms in the Pacific Northwest. The hazard here is large hail, but we also have a tornado risk. The hail just keeps coming. We have another round in Texas today, or I guess technically 2 more rounds in Texas if you consider tomorrow as well. And also keep your eyes on the weekend. Starting Sunday afternoon into Monday, we have a very large risk for storms anywhere across the Midwest, down to the Missouri Valley, and then out to the east. So let's start off with yesterday. Then we'll go day by day, and we will break down these storm risks. We'll slow down a little bit here and talk about Dallas. Dallas, storms started to pop up in the evening hours. Slow at first, but when it was on, it was on. Look at all of these hail reports popping up, starting on the east side of Dallas, but even the northern metro got in on the action, and even down to the south, just south of Fort Worth and Cleburne. Is that how you say it? We also saw some pretty decent hail down here as well. So just about every side of Dallas, or DFW really, saw those storms yesterday that just produced hailstone after hailstone. I mean, there were reports of emergency management offices having to close down roads because they were impassable due to the amount of hail on the roadways. That is a lot of hail. So the volume here was very, very impressive. The size also very impressive. We saw golf ball to ping pong ball to golf ball size hail, but in some areas 2+ inches, and even in some rural area 2.5-inch size hailstones. And we have posted a ton of pictures and videos on our social media of those hailstones. But I did want to show you the map here. This is a 5-star map, upgraded just this morning because we just kept seeing the large volume of hail coming in from your pictures. So we also appreciate you all sending pictures from last night and this morning. So here's your 5-star map. It's for DFW, Allen, McKinney, Sherman, basically everywhere highlighted in dark red. Those are going to be your larger hailstones. As I mentioned, the largest size that we saw was a 2.5-inch size hailstone, very large. For an idea of how large that is, a golf ball size hailstone is about 1.75. So we've got even larger than golf ball size there. And the houses impacted, almost 350,000 houses impacted. That's a very large number. That's a lot of people impacted there. So moving on, again, that was a 5-star hailstorm. Very impressive. So moving on to today, tomorrow, Friday, we have a risk for storms, or 2 risks for storms in the next 3 days. We've got some warm air out there. You need that warm air. You also need that moist air for storms. So it's looking pretty good right now. Right now, at this current moment, I think we're severe clear. We don't have anything severe warned yet. However, give it a few hours. I do think that we'll start to see those severe warnings pop up. Taking a look at current conditions, it's cooler farther up to the north. We're not expecting anything severe up to the north today. We've even got some snow moving across the New England states. Still, a line of thunderstorms hug the Oklahoma-Texas state line along the Red River and even out to Arkansas-Louisiana state line, moving into Mississippi. But where do we expect those storms today? Farther down to the south into southern Texas, and then out to the west. This is your rare hail risk today. We never see a hail risk. I wouldn't say never, but very, very uncommon to see a hail risk across the Pacific Northwest, especially one of this magnitude today. So we'll get into that in the timing here in just a minute. Current temperatures, it's gorgeous in Oklahoma City today. If you're out on the roofs this afternoon in Dallas, it's also going to be gorgeous. We've got 72 in Dallas right now, 75 out in Houston, 57 in Kansas City. So as I mentioned, goes colder the farther north that you go, 51 in Minneapolis, and 49 in Fort Wayne. So you can start to see a little bit of a ridge start to set in. That means that we've got more sunshine farther down to the south, which also will help to heat us up. Look out to the west. Holy moly, yes, we have a cyclone out to the west, and that is going to fuel a lot of those storms along the Pacific Northwest today. I love this map right here because it really shows how strong that cyclone is, that strong that low pressure system is. And you'll be able to start to see it spin once it comes into view of the west coast as we head into the afternoon hours. Some of those outer bands will be what we are watching for initially to produce large hail and tornadoes out in the Pacific Northwest. But I talked about two risks today. So not only do we have that rare risk out to the northwest, but we also have a risk down in the far southern portion of the U.S. That is down in Laredo, Texas, almost getting into San Antonio. However, San Antonio, I think that you're out of the risk for today. You have a risk for storms tomorrow, and that risk also includes Houston tomorrow. So there's a wide view of what's happening today. We'll get into that more specific view. So let's start up to the north and west, and then we'll move our way down into Texas, okay? So here we go. You can see that storms are going to start out isolated at first, but then become more widespread as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. So the farther that we get into the evening, the more widespread those storms will be. I think these isolated first few storms, starting down to the south, and then slowly making their way up to the north, okay? The storm track won't be going to the north. It'll be slowly, almost like unzipping, like a zipper, slowly popping off storms up to the north as these bands start to move into the U.S. here. You'll slowly, I think this is the best chance for storms right here. For severe weather, it'll be right along Highway 5 right here from Portland down to Medford and even as far north as Seattle. But as we head into the evening hours, you'll slowly start to see that storm risk go down. The sun will start to set, and then we'll really start to see that hail risk go down. So the farther east that you go into the state, into Washington, into Oregon, the lower that severe risk is going to be. It's a small risk. It's still on the board, but it's a small risk here. And it really will turn into more of a wind risk as we get into places like Idaho into the late night hours tonight. You are expecting some rain in this area. Here's your hail risk, as I mentioned, right along Highway 5 here, anywhere from Medford up to Portland into Seattle. Starting to peak in the late afternoon hours and into the early evening, but then that risk goes down as we head into the after sunset, the late evening hours. So there's your risk for today. Let's break down hazard by hazard. Here's your hail forecast for today. Seattle to Portland to Eugene, we have that up to golf ball size hail, 1.75 inches. Again, very, very rare for this part of the country to see such large hailstones over here. Even to have the potential, the forecast to see such large hailstones is pretty significant. This will also be the area that we're watching for tornado risk. However, I have a tornado map that we'll pull up here in just a minute. As we go farther to the east, farther into the state, we are going to see that risk decrease, not only in isolated storms out here, but also with that hail risk looks very, very low. So moving to your wind risk, max forecasted hail size, I have it at golf ball size hail, 1.75 inches. Now moving to your wind risk. So your wind risk is going to be a lot more promising the farther north and east that we go. Spokane all the way to Seattle, I think we'll have the best chance for that high wind, but Portland, you could see high wind as well. We're talking right around 60 to 65 miles an hour. I think it'll be very rare, probably not seeing up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, but we'll see. Maybe one of these storms could organize and produce some higher wind in this area. That tornado risk is also on the board. Moving to the tornado risk now, Seattle, Portland, and Eugene. Again, it's right along the highway here. We have a level 2 tornado risk. Pretty impressive, pretty significant for this time, for this part of the country. Eugene to Portland to Seattle, that is where we have the best chance for an isolated tornado or two today. So make sure that you are taking precautions. If you know anyone in this area, make sure that they know what to do as well. They're not as well versed as we are here in the plains and in the Midwest about what to do whenever tornadoes hit. So get to the lower room, the most interior room of your house or the building that you're in. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So we'll see if we can get some hailstorms out of this today and potentially even a tornado. Now moving down to Texas. I told you we'd go down to Texas here. We still have that hail risk in place, but it's really down in the far southern portion of the state, anywhere from 35 all the way down to the south, even kind of hugging the Gulf Coast here as well. That hail risk, not as impressive as what we see up to the north, but it's still on the board today. So I do think hail sizes are going to stay smaller in this area. We're talking quarter-sized, maybe up to $half size, and then smaller than that. The reason why is these storms are a lot more clustered. It's hard for them to get organized. If these storms could stay isolated, they could organize and produce those larger hailstones. However, because they're so clustered, you can see that there, we don't really have like an isolated storm anywhere. They're going to be more rainmakers than they will be hailers. If one or two could start to isolate, maybe organize, elevate, we could see some larger hail in this area. But again, we're keeping the risk small for today, much better for tomorrow. Wait until you see that risk down here tomorrow. Here's another model here. So you just looked at the NAM. Now you're looking at the HUR run here. Once again, both of these models are pretty consistent with each other with those very clustered storms. Alrighty, moving into your hail risk today, as I mentioned, we're keeping it on the smaller side, low risk level, so maybe an isolated quarter or $half size hail. Moving to tomorrow, Thursday, we have 2 more risks coming your way. So we talked about 2 risks today, 2 risks tomorrow. I can't remember about Friday, but I think we have 2 on Friday as well. Moving up to the northern plains here and into the Midwest, we do have a slight risk for tomorrow just to the south of Omaha and to the north of Kansas City. Those storms, once again, if we could get an isolated storm or two, we could get some larger hail out of this. I think the best chance for large hail, and you may see it on your hail model here in just a minute, will be right along the Kansas-Nebraska state line, going right along the Iowa-Missouri state line, so right in this area, and then maybe even moving into central Illinois just slightly. So I think that that'll be where the best risk for larger hail will be. Further down to the south, you're going to get a lot of rainmakers. Moving to that hail risk, here you go. There's your larger hail. And you know what I would do here, and this was just a big forecast today, what I would do is I would extend this orange polygon right here that shows larger hail sizes. I would extend it a little bit farther out to the east and make it go just slightly into central Illinois, central to western side of Illinois here. What you're looking at here is the storm prediction model, or the storm prediction risk outlook. We oftentimes change this based on what we expect for those hail sizes, and we like to talk about it. We like to explain why we do that, but I think that's what I would do. So that may be what you see tomorrow, is that risk extended out just a little bit farther into the southern portion of Iowa, into the northern portion of Missouri, and just barely into Illinois. Either way, I think we have a better chance for those larger hailstones up in Omaha, Peoria, a better chance for severe weather, and then farther down to the south, you may get rain, but a very low chance for severe weather. I told you, Texas, wait your turn, because tomorrow in the southern portion of Texas, we do have a better chance for those larger hailstones. Today, a low risk, tomorrow, a much better risk. So the farther south that you go, the larger those hailstones will be. We have a level 2, a moderate risk in Laredo, and a level 2, a moderate risk in San Antonio as well. But San Antonio, your hail size looks a little bit smaller in this area. We even skimmed the southern portion of Houston there, and then go up into the western side of Texas and into New Mexico. Did you see that? We'll go back down into Texas here. Give it just a minute to load the graphic. 1 second. But this risk goes all the way up into West Texas and into New Mexico. Alrighty, moving on. Friday, we have another risk. Saturday, believe it or not, no risk on Saturday. And I thought I had that Friday risk on here. I'll post it online. Saturday, just wait your turn. I do think that there will be a risk. We just don't have one yet. Sunday, there's a massive area that we are watching for severe storms. So this will be Sunday afternoon into the evening hours. Everyone here highlighted in yellow has that potential for strong to severe storms. This is a very large area, all the way from the eastern side of Texas through the Mississippi Valley and even up into the Midwest, into the Tennessee Valley here. This is why I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you're on the West Coast or the East Coast, you're getting storms over the next 6 days. There's your storms late Sunday into Monday. That storm risk continues. So I think that we'll continue to see this even Monday morning, Monday afternoon. These storms will continue to move to the east. Along the East Coast, this risk goes anywhere from the southern portion of Louisiana, including New Orleans there, and then all the way up to the East Coast, to Boston, to Baltimore, Maryland. So we have a very, very active setup. Anytime that we can see these dips and these ridges in the jet stream, that is when we know that we will keep in this active setup. So if we look a little bit farther into the future here, last day of March and into early April, it does look like we're going to continue this pattern with these, we call them troughs. They're the dips in the jet stream, and then the ridges are going to be the quiet times. Troughs are going to be the active weather, and the ridges are going to be the quiet times. And it looks like we continue this pattern as we head into early April as well. So we're in a very active pattern right now. We have a storm risk every single day of the forecast. So we went through the next 6 days. We have a storm risk every single day. Temperatures, let's move on to temperatures. 81 in Oklahoma City, 65 up in Kansas City, 74 in Denver. We are in just a gorgeous spot of the week. Get outside, enjoy this nice weather. It's not as windy as it was last week. If you heard my rants about the wind, I'm sorry, I don't like windy days. Temperatures are going to be dropping into the 60s through the overnight hours tonight. So even tomorrow morning is comfortable. You can get outside tomorrow afternoon as we stay into the 70s. I think most of this week looks really nice. Yeah, there we go. 70s once again on Friday. A little bit cooler. You can start to see some of that colder air try to move its way in by Saturday and Sunday. It just depends on where in the U.S. you are. If you're out to the west, it's going to be a lot colder than it is down to the south and east. Gorgeous weather though. It's nice to see the springtime warm up, but that springtime storms comes with it as well. Taking a look at future wind gusts, yeah, it's pretty quiet out there, not as windy as what we saw this time last week. It got some high wind every now and then, but nothing crazy. Hopefully no dust storms. We need this rain, right? It does look like temperatures are likely to stay above average, so a chance for warmer than normal. It's a good chance. Farther down to the south, those temperatures are likely to stay above average for this time of the year. And your rain, it also looks to continue to stay active. So what we're looking at here is your chance for precip, snow or rain, but most likely rain this time of the year, above or below average. So in the greens, above average. In the browns, below average. Anytime whenever we see on this map warmer temperatures, right, that's what we just saw, and higher than average precip, so a lot of moisture coming in, we know that there's probably going to be storms in the forecast. And so we're probably going to stay in this active pattern all the way through the first week of April at least. Okay, we talked about a lot today, so if you need to go back and look at the forecast again, you can always go back and rewatch this video. We will also be posting more hail photos and forecast updates on our social media, so hit that follow button. As always, here's where we are: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Threads, LinkedIn. I'm sure I'm missing one in there, but if it's got social media, we're probably on it. And if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, we mapped all of that yesterday. So we had a ton of hail across DFW yesterday. All of those maps, along with pictures and the location where those pictures were taken, are up on our app right now. If you're interested in a subscription, give us a call at 855-334-4245. Email us at info@hailtrace.com, or head over to our website, hailtrace.com. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll be back same time, same place for your forecast tomorrow.